Just been out all day, folks, on a sticking hot day. We got up to what, 32 degrees I think it is. But if on the ground level, I reckon if I had a thermometer out here, which I should get one, by the way, I reckon it would have been at least 38, 40, sort of the heat off the ground radiating on the plants. So needless to say, let's have a look at the garden after a hot day. Now these plants have been watered well, but what I want to show you is the wilt on top. Have a look at this. This is the plant's natural defense mechanism on a hot day. It pulls in its leaf. It doesn't need all that excess sunlight, so it's trying to protect itself so it doesn't dehydrate completely and burn off. Now we do have a few leaves that have discolored, and these plants haven't been pruned, but what I'm noticing, the way it's growing, have a look at this. Yeah, I'm going to stake it up, don't worry about that, I'm okay with all this. What I'm noticing is the way it's forming itself, the shape of it. It's got multiple shoots coming up from the base, all actively growing. It's quite harsh out here in the sunlight, as you already know if you've been following me for a while, and hence this plant is quite compact. Now, this is either a Mighty Red or a Rouge de Marmande that I planted here. I haven't put my Big Malakas in yet, believe it or not, I haven't. And I do want to go through all this crazy cycle of weather before I plant, so I've got plenty of time, I reckon. And I'm not looking for a big production of them, just a few good quality tomatoes. But this plant here now, look, all the side shoots coming out of here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I can cut them all off, but it's done it naturally. And the way it's shaped itself, it's done it on its own because of the amount of sunlight it's receiving. So it's quite bushy. Now, I'm going to trim it, but I'm not here to show you how to trim plants. I'm sure you already know that. What I want to show you by comparison, we'll have a look at a couple of other ones that are in full sun, and then I'm going to take you to a couple that are slightly in the shade, show you what they're looking like. This is one I showed you the other day. Look at the size of this. Now, this is cupped at 2. I mean, the leaves have cupped. There's no disease, it's not dehydrated. And look around the other plants underneath here. See, we've got some dwarf beans growing in here. Marigold's just finishing its flowers on the first batch. There's spring onions and onions in here. We've got petunias over here. They're all thriving. More onions you can see. So there's plenty of life and moisture in the ground. I don't have to show you that. This is a natural reaction for the plant with a high heat, and especially with a lot of sunlight that's coming out of here. So we'll just wait for tomorrow morning and see what this is going to look like in the morning. I might take a photo for you all so you can see how it's going to open up its leaves again in the morning. But let's go over there and show you the other ones in the shade. Same variety, folks. Now these are all Mighty Red. The first two that I've shown you, the first batch I showed you, and these ones here are all from the same punnet. Look at the height on this. Now we've got a couple of shoots coming off at the bottom. I removed a couple of leaves because they were getting affected by the cauliflowers. But what we've got here is one main shoot and a second one developed, planted at the same time. Same mix, basically quality mix, as you all know. It's all I use here. So these beds have got the same sort of mix in them. That's one here. There's another one on this side that's done exactly the same. So it's tall with a second shoot coming on, just there. And I've only just removed some bottom leaves there because they were rubbing against the big cauliflower we had in here. By the way, have a look at this one. Hey, not bad. She's not bad. It's starting to discolour. We're going to take that out. So look at the size of that. That's a good one there. There's another one coming on there. They're stretching. So tomatoes, they like part shade. Well, that's my understanding. They will grow in the full sun, but you can see how compact they're becoming and quite bushy. I'll have to remove some of those and see if I can get them to grow a bit taller. I don't want them to grow too tall because they're in a little raised bed there. These will grow tall. These will reach at least 6 foot above from where they're growing in. And another tip for you guys, if you're finding that you're struggling with tomatoes, which I don't think you should be, especially if you're using our mix, is to top up soil around the base of the trunk. So the more of the stem of the tomato plant you cover, the more roots you develop and the stronger and healthier the plant becomes overall. One more to show you. This one, folks, I have to stake up immediately. I hardly venture out here, only to cut a leaf or two. And what you're looking at is one of the raised beds with the flexi garden frame on top and the bird netting. Well, insect netting, I should say. That's what that is. Have a look at this. Now, I've got some onions going to seed here, and I've got this monster that I'm letting trail. I should stake it up, I know. Loaded with flowers. Every leaf is super clean. Doesn't just stop there. There's another batch over here. This is the first time I'm actually touching this plant from the day I planted it. I haven't done absolutely nothing besides a little bit of water on this side and wherever I can get on the other side. We've got some garlic chives in the back there so you can see what's going on. Our kale, now I should point this out. Oh, it would have been weeks ago. This kale was in the middle of the bed, basically before we demolished the middle beds, the ground bed that is. Transplanted it over here. We had another kale over there, that's right, we transplanted it, and one over in here. They all got affected by aphids. Started to liquid feed, top dress them with our fertiliser, build up the nutrient density in the soil, basically the microbial count, and in return these plants, without any sprays, are super, super clean now. I should check before I say that, right? I don't see anything, I don't need my glasses, and look at that, we can harvest from under here. We haven't even got any mildew on this. Super clean, no insects, nothing at all, lots of flowers, and guess where those flowers are going to fall down to when they go to seed pods? Straight back in here and germinate, then we can just transplant back into the garden. Volunteers is what we call them. But back to the tomato plant. This thing here is trailing along the ground. If you look down in here, look, the first yellow leaf, that's the first one. It's only the little bottom one, and this hasn't received any sunlight, direct sunlight at all, folks, so that's not too bad. But when I say it's trailing along the ground, what you can do with your tomatoes, if you've got the room, I'm going to try and redirect this one here. These have gone really woody now. There we are. I'm going to drop this back into the ground here, so the roots, well, not the roots, the actual stem. Come and have a look at this. What I'm doing here is actually getting the plant to sit on the soil itself, so that it can develop new roots. And what they are, there's little bumps that develop on the side, and if I can feel them here, they are starting to develop. It's just a little bit away from it. It's a little bit hard to lift it. I don't want to break it, but I can feel, you'll find little white lumps. They look like pimples. They're the beginnings of new roots developing on the plant, and they only happen when they're really close to the soil, if not in the soil directly like that. So a little bit of mulch over the top. I can bury it a bit better than that, but you get the idea. As soon as it touches the soil, the stem that is, it'll start to grow roots. Did I just break something? I heard a crack. Yeah, I did. There you go, broke a leaf. Lots of shoots up. So after a hot day, folks, if your plants in your garden, not just edible plants and flowering plants, are a little bit wilted, that's okay. It's a natural reaction for a plant to protect itself. We don't walk around in the garden on a hot day like, hey, let's have a dance. Maybe some of you do, but I don't. I sort of slouch a little bit and take my time and reserve my energy. And that's what plants are doing as well. So check your soil in case it is dry. But most times if you're watering and hydrating the ground on a regular basis, you shouldn't have to worry about that. And the soil in this bed here is nice and moist. Do not overhead water in the evening on plants that are susceptible to getting mildew and things like that and rust, because the high temperature levels with the moisture combined gives you the humidity. And as that rises, that activates all those spores that are flying around, and well, we can't see them, but they're there, and they start to activate on the plant, and your plant gets disease. So wilted plants, check the moisture, make sure they're okay. These ones are doing fine. Well, I'm going to come back and inspect those ones because the ground is super moist, but they are cupping a lot there, and I am a little bit concerned, but I think they'll bounce back. And it's not so much I'm concerned about today, it's the fact that we're going to have consecutive 33 degree days in a row, 4 or 5 of them that is, and then another burst in about a week or two. I'm hoping they fare pretty well. Otherwise, a little bit of shade cloth and protection is the way to go with them, folks. So look after your garden on a hot day. Keep it hydrated nice and early, maybe a top up in the mid-afternoon. Don't worry if the sun's out, because if you're going to wait till the afternoon, those plants may be dehydrated too much and they'll struggle. Kara's just turned up, by the way, folks, so just giving her a scratch. Vasili'sGarden.com for everything you need every day. Now, this weekend is 3AW Radio Gardening 693. I'm going to be there from 6:30 a.m. till 8 a.m, so give us a call if you've got any garden questions or great advice and details on gardening that you can share. Sorry, the dogs are all turning up and then they're going to attack me. This Saturday also we're celebrating Red Hill, our Red Hill Click and Collect outlet. Jill and John got an immaculate garden, folks. You've got to check it out. Espalier fruit trees, vegetables and flowers everywhere. A great sort of example of what you can do in your garden using some great products. We're celebrating there. I'm going to be there as well, so come down, say hello. I want to see you there. Bring your problems, bring your ideas, and look at some great products that we have, and check out the garden and meet the lovely couple who look after it. Vasili'sGarden.com. From me, Vasili Maresi.